This is a short documentary of a humble servant of God, Apostle Dr. Ime Udo, who waited patiently and worked hard for the Church of God without looking that. His brother, Prophet Dr. David Udo, is the general overseer. This is a story of a man taken from grass to grace. Apostle Dr. Ime Udo, a selfless man of God, carries everyone's problem and sees that there is solution to any problem and makes sure that everyone is carried along in the ministry. There are 9 in number. Apostle Dr. Ime Udo followed his brother, Prophet Dr. David Udo, from his youth, following him when he left Cross River State to River State, Abua, and he, Prophet Dr. David Udo, went to Abua to have his radio mechanic workshop. Prophet Dr. David Udo was brought up in the Apostolic Church, and as he went to Abua, he attended the Apostolic Church Abua, and God used him there. And that is when the Apostolic Church authority with the pastor saw his God's gifted gift and gave him the office of a prophet. And after that, he left Cross River State to stay with him in Abua. He carried me along. I followed his steps, and when God sent him to go to Mount Zion Christ Church, I also followed him, followed his vision. Pastor Dr. Ime Udo, arriving at his former church, the Mount Zion Christ Church, Azwabia Town, Trans-Amadi Port Harcourt, River State, Nigeria, where he was accommodated alongside Prophet Dr. David Udo, General Overseer. Apostle Dr. Ime Udo, alongside Prophet Dr. David Udo, lived here 26 years ago. The story of God's grace. Apostle Dr. Ime Udo meets his former chorister, now pastor, got introduced to the resident pastor of the church. The then place where Apostle Dr. Ime Udo used to sleep after church service because he had no house to stay, because his brother, Prophet Dr. David Udo, used to live in one room with his wife and first daughter, Eunice.
To sleep that time. He's here because of when Jesus stay with a wife with a Eunice in one room. So me, I will carry 2 beds, join together and sleep here.
So every night I will go out and sleep because the one room could not contain us all. This is the one-room apartment that was allocated to Prophet Dr. David Udo and his family to stay.
The room the GO stay. The church, Mount Zion Christ Church, Apostle Lobo give GO this room to stay.
My mother used to tell me in Akwa Ibom dialect, Ime bedinimfo, meaning Ime, wait for your time. Your future is very bright. Now he sees himself with prominent people. Apostle Dr. Ime Udo, seeing God's glory in his life, went into his former church, the Mount Zion Christ Church, and gave thanks unto God. Few years later, Prophet Dr. David Udo had his calling and had his own ministry, the Apostolic Mount Olive Church at Miniewa, Port Harcourt. Dr. Ime Udo had a job at Oman Engineering for some months in Trans-Amadi River State before the job finished. After that, he hired a land according to how his finance carried him and constructed the Baja house where he lived, in which was made with wood and zinc in the slum. He lived in the Baja house.
We leave Mount Zion and start the church in Eminewa. So the place I live by that time is what we call Bacha.
And at that time, Apostle Dr. Ime Udo was an elder.
At that time, I'm the elder in the church. I stay in that place from elder to evangelist.
The condition he was living in was nothing to write about. He wept emotionally as he remembers where he lived in. Finally, he thanked God for being good to him and changing his life for the better. And having a good life, he encourages the people, pastors, upcoming persons in the ministry, and the viewers that they should not be discouraged by their present situation, but rather they should believe God that their tomorrow will be better than today. Apostle Dr. Imododo, on arrival on Peterson Street after so many years of living there, he was welcomed happily by few persons immediately he highlighted from his car. Apostle Dr. Imododo left the Baja after few years of living there. His brother, Prophet Dr. David Ododo, out of pity and love asked if he would be able to manage and be sleeping in his wife's shop, since he, the general overseer, was living in just a small self-contained with his family. Apostle Dr. Imododo was an evangelist by then and used to trek from church in Miniewa back to the shop in Peterson, where he had to humble himself and sleep at a lockup shop where the wife of the general overseer, Dr. Mrs. Abigail David Ododo, used to do her hairstyling business. He will hang around during the day and sleep there after close of work in her hairstyling shop at night. He didn't have mattress to sleep on, no kerosene to put in the stove and cook. Life was tough, but today God has honored him, changed his life and blessed him. He added that when you serve God, also believe God and also serve God with a clean hand, so that when God wants to bless you, it will take you and everyone by surprise. In the shop he used to sleep, he saw another tenant who lived there and also sell things in front of the shop. He prayed for the lady, saying that he lived here and God changed his life, and as God changed his life for the better, God would change hers. He told her children not to lose hope, that the future is bright. After praying for them, he walked to his car and left. Apostle Dr. Imododo, being a true and dedicated follower, followed his brother, the general overseer of the Apostolic Mount Olive Church, Prophet Dr. David Ododo, to his newly rented two-bedroom apartment in Elili-Jijiwoji. One room was given to someone whose wife just put to birth, because the man didn't have money to rent an apartment of his own, while the general overseer lived in the other room with his family, which left Apostle Dr. Imododo living in the storehouse garage, where there was no light or window for proper ventilation. Truly, God gives hope to the hopeless.
Stay here with that window, just to draw here. I enter inside, I sleep inside. Morning time, I will leave. If NEPA take light, I will stay like a prison.
He calls upon his son, showing him where he used to live and sleep. His son, Master Duke, asked him, "Daddy, is this where you lived?" And he hugged his own son Duke emotionally, answering, "Yes, my son." And they both wept, hugging each other. He never gave up on God. He was diligent in the ways of the Lord, and God came through for him. On arrival on his former compound, he saw his former landlady and her son. She could not remember him. Then her son asked his mommy, "Can't you remember Pastor who lived here?" in her self-content, pointing his hand to the direction of where he used to live. And she was surprised to see him and exclaimed in happiness. Apostle Dr. Imododo's former landlady was astonished to see how he changed and looked so different after the years, asking Pastor, "Is this you?" And he replied, "Yes, it is me."
Maybe like this when you did that time now. Jesus.
Few years ago, the church and his brother, Prophet Dr. David Ododo, married a wife for him because of the gospel of God. He lived in a self-contained apartment. He was gifted with a white Toyota Camry from his brother, Prophet Dr. David Ododo, where he nicknamed the car White Horse. After he was gifted the car, the saying, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing," came in. He was then a pastor, the assembly pastor in the Apostolic Mount Olive Church, and stayed in this self-contained apartment. That is why he encourages his fellow pastors and the viewers who listen to this. Anywhere you see yourself today, don't lose hope. Have faith in God. God will change your life if you serve Him diligently. Before he left his previous apartment, he prayed for the current tenant who was living in the apartment, that God would bless them and also open doors for them as He did for him. Please, from leaving this particular apartment, his story changed. Apostle Dr. Imododo is now a man that has helped so many people in need. I want to thank especially my brother, the General Overseer of the Apostolic Mount Olive Church, Prophet Dr. David Ododo, for all his effort, his guidance, and leadership in guiding and grooming me, his wife, Pastor Dr. Abigail David Ododo, his family as a whole. I also want to thank the whole Apostolic Mount Olive Church and church viewers. To God be the glory.
I've got two